All right, so we are now joined by a very special guest. It's the person I never thought I would want to talk to after the 2015 Alabama Ole Miss game, but I'm glad you're here, man. And it comes off as this too. You were Mr. Irrelevant in 2017, but swag is always relevant. So first off, how you doing, Chad Kelly?
I'm doing awesome. I appreciate you having me on.
Of course, man. Welcome in. Listen, draft is this weekend. You've been to that whole process. It's fun. It's got ups and downs, all that kind of stuff. You kind of went through it in a different way because you were coming off injury and all that kind of stuff. But what was it like hearing your name called, and what was the draft process like in general?
It was very intriguing. It was a long wait, like you said, and it's kind of wild how the whole thing works, because if you go with a certain agency, a certain agent, they will get you drafted higher. That is a fact. I think the whole aspect of it is all, it's for show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, we're talking right now, but a lot of those guys that are first round draft picks, I mean, they get a lot of chances because how many viewers tune in for draft night, right?
Right.
So, they want to repay those guys as much as they can. And, I think it's an amazing experience just to get drafted. Everybody's so excited. And, obviously I was super thankful for the Broncos drafting me. And, having those injuries, I don't know if I would have ended up in Denver as well.
Right. Next question here. I don't know if this is something people know about you, is you were a 5-time national champion. Once in JUCO, 4 times in punt, pass, and kick.
Sure.
Had no idea.
Well, obviously growing up, my father was big into working hard, and
right.
That's how he grew up as well. And ever since I was at a Bills game when I was in 8th grade, and I saw some kids get announced on the field, and I would always go to every single game. And I looked at my dad and said, "Dad, I want to be one of those kids out there on the field." And he was like, "All right, let's do it." And he was like, "I think your uncle did it." And so, ever since that day, there wasn't a day that I missed for, 8 years, that I was literally training every single day. Rain, sleet, snow, shine.
Right.
I was still out there training, whether it was throwing, passing, or kicking, or pump, pass, and kicking, obviously. And, it paid off. It really did.
I mean, 4-time national champ is impressive. One of my main questions here is, how come you were never given the chance to kick or punt in college? And is it because you're not Australian? Because that's got to be what it is.
Well, I will say this. When I went to Clemson, I was very intrigued of being able to maybe punt one day. And I saw a guy named Brad Pinion, and that kid had a leg on him that I had never seen. He was 6'5", 240, and he was booting it. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. My days might be numbered here. And obviously toe style kicking doesn't last long. So
you were towing it?
You might see some one-pointers in the Canadian League this year, where if it goes through the back of the end zone, it is 1 point. So hopefully we can get
that.
So
love it, man. Well, you were talking about this too. You spoke on, Clemson. It's kind of fascinating to think about because, look, I bring up the 2015 thing and it feels like it happened yesterday, and we're going to get into it. At some point we'll get into it. But my main question is, if you're recruited in your freshman year was 2012, which is, mind blowing, because I didn't realize it was that far back, but you were recruited by Clemson and Dabo kind of before the whole, not national power that they become, but kind of, it's still Clemson was still a thing. So what was that like being recruited by him, and what was the pitch?
Well, the pitch was that you were going to have a chance to start as a true freshman. And, going to Alabama, Nick Saban said that I haven't started a true freshman at quarterback ever.
Right.
And that was true until I think Jalen Hurts got there. And so, I had the Florida States, and it was me and Jameis that they offered. And, that was that. And obviously I had a few more other schools. And, I think the biggest thing was, you look at Clemson, their offense, they had Martavius Bryant, they had DeAndre Hopkins, they had Sammy Watkins, Sharon Peak, Adam Humphreys, Andre Ellington.
Peak, man. People forget about that dude. That dude was real good.
I mean, they had so many guys. And, if you're a quarterback, who doesn't want to play with the best wide receiver? Right. And so I think that was kind of like a deciding factor, where the guy was like, hey, I might be not running, a true pro style offense. And that's what we kind of were going back and forth on, was, hey, do you want to go to Florida State and play in a pro style offense, or do you want to play in a spread and win a Heisman and national championship?
Yeah.
Which Florida State won, I think, 2 national championships during my time at Clemson. And, I think that both would have been very good options, but, it is what it is. But I definitely learned a lot and knew I knew the nuances of how to play in a spread offense more than anything, you know.
We talked about this a little bit off air, but I mean, you're a smart dude, man. You're a smart dude. Maybe sometimes I get lost on things just because the way that media is, the way that stories are, the way that fans are, all that kind of shit. Like, but when you talk about just from like a cerebral standpoint, like football IQ, now we're going to talk about 2015, the September 19th, 2015. You did something that no other quarterback in the history of Ole Miss football has ever done. And that's beat Alabama consecutive seasons there going into that second year. I know Bo Wallace was there before, but winning that second one and winning it in Tuscaloosa, 9 p.m. start. I mean, hostile environment. What was game week like in the prep leading up to it? And when did you know it was over?
Well, the game's never over until the very last snap. Let's just say that. But I think leading up, we just beat two teams back to back, 70 to something, 70
right.
to something. So, I was sharing reps, with the quarterbacks the first and second week. I know I was a starter, but I was still sharing reps. And so that third game was obviously Alabama, but, guys were still feeling very good about where we were at physically and mentally because we just beat teams back to back. And I think we were still top 10, maybe, I believe, somewhere around there when we walked into Tuscaloosa. But I think everybody had a confidence going into it, like, hey, we're working hard. We're staying after. We're watching film. I mean, look, I used to have the guys over on Thursday nights. A friend of mine would cook, a whole bunch of pasta and a whole bunch of food, and guys would come over. We'll put the film on the TV, and we'd sit around and, we're talking about the game. We're talking about, hey, if they do this, is what I'm looking at. This is what we're feeling. And we did that every Thursday. And so, it paid off during that season going 10-3. And, I think obviously there was a lot of room for improvement, but that game specifically, you can't turn the ball over 5 times.
Thank you. I agree there, Chad. I agree. Well, it's like 3 of them. I remember telling this to somebody the other day. They were like, it was because this game, I remember like it was yesterday. Because I mean, the bootleg you had in the far end zone for one, and then the 3rd and 11 play, right, where it's like I think Minka came off a blitz or somebody, and it hits off the dude's helmet and this whole thing, and it's like, but that kind of seemed to be a thing that you did a lot of times, which was not have these like stuff that's like that outlandish, but you just kept making plays. You always made plays, and you kept the play going. So I think you think that's probably one of the reasons you were so successful when you were at Ole Miss and in general? Is that something you always brought to the table, or is it just kind of something that kind of came along with the swag as you went on and on your career?
I mean, look, obviously I've grown so much since then, right?
Right.
I understand what the weaknesses are. I understand what it means for a 3-carry defense. I understand what it means to play a Houston 4. I understand what cover 0 is. And back then I really didn't understand, honestly, because, I didn't see a lot of that in JUCO, and I wasn't out there enough in Clemson to understand it. So that was really my 3rd game in big college football. But, the first 2 teams were able to run, generic plays and just run by everybody. So when we got to that game, really it was all about just taking care of the football, right? And not making a bad play worse. But, on the 3rd and 2 and, you're going to shoot it out there before the snap, and, snap goes high and you throw it out there. And, if you're living well, things like that happen. And, something kind of funny, just because obviously you're a Bama fan, but, a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to Nick Saban at the coaches clinic in Tuscaloosa, and, he was joking around saying, man, I swear you were across the line on that one touchdown. And, I thought it was so funny that he obviously remembered, and, we shared some other words, and it was pretty cool that he obviously remembered, and his eyes lit up when I was just telling him how to defend the RPOs, man. We talked about it all the time, and, there's only one way that you can defend an RPO. Well, there's 2 on the offensive line, but also with the defensive line and then safeties. So that's for another time. If anybody, watching needs to know how to defend the RPO.
Yeah. Tell us that, because you brought up Houston 4. I had no idea what any of that was. I'm glad you're here for that. No, but I mean, kind of speaking on that, and this isn't like a somber thing, because when I look back at the time Chad Kelly had in college or in general as just like an athlete, man, I feel like you've traveled around so much, you've been all over the place, you had so many successes at so many different places. What do you think your legacy, whether it be in the SEC or in general, is or should be? Because like I said, I think there is a big misperception of you in general. And I tell you what, we talk about this when you look at NIL stuff now, right? Think about having to explain some of these stories, these NIL stories to players back in the day, like when you have like a Johnny Manziel or an AJ Green getting suspended for 4 games for autographs and making like $800. You know what I mean? And now you're talking about these kids making $3 million to go from Pitt to USC. What do you think your legacy is or should be?
Let's stop it right there. Before the NIL deal, you're letting kids transfer without any penalty to any school. I did it the hard way. I could have said, Dabo Swinney, hey, I'm transferring. I'll see you. I'm going into the portal. No, I got an argument with him, and I had to sit out a year, and he put a stop where I couldn't go to an ACC program or I couldn't go to South Carolina. So, the whole time and the next day I get, or not even the next day, that day, I get message from Hugh Freeze that said, hey, go to East Mississippi, and then you're coming to our school. And so the whole time I knew about it the whole way through. If I go to East Mississippi, I'm going to Ole Miss. And so I think that's where it needs to change. NIL, look, everybody, whoever has more money is going to win, right? I mean, yeah, you still need good coaches, but essentially, you can go out and get exactly the player that you want with whatever type of money you got. So, I think, I mean, the money is ruling college football now. It really is. It really is.
You think that, that is a good way to put it. And I never even knew about the South Carolina part. And this is just kind of, off the cuff now since you brought that up. But where would you, if you would have had the same rules that are in place now, and I don't mean NIL stuff, I mean just without the transfer penalty, where would you have gone? Would you have gone to South Carolina?
I mean, I was more than happy to play Clemson once a year. I mean, I don't know where I would have went. I
you
really
got Spurrier there too at that time.
Yeah, he was. And, they had they were going through a quarterback deal. Connor Shaw was there. And then when I left Clemson, it was Dylan Thompson, I believe, or
same person, basically. Yeah.
Like that. So there was obviously room to play. And you never know where you could have went. Like I said, you go in the portal, next thing you know, you're getting calls from 10, 20 different people. And, I was thankful that I had 25, 30 offers coming out of high school. And, Tom Luganbill told me specifically when I was at Elite 11, he said, if you didn't get in trouble your 9th and 10th grade year, you would have been the number 1 quarterback. And that's the same class as Jameis and all. Right. And if we go up and let's pull up the 2011, 2012, I think it would be 2011 because it was before Under Armour game. Let's pull up those statistics. Let's pull up that deal. You're not going to find
pulling up right now.
You're not going to find me as in those highlights. I threw for the most yards anybody has in a game, and I still did it on a bum ankle.
Bro, I'm looking at these other quarterbacks right now too, and I forgot about this. Is what would have been the 2012 class, right? It would have been 2012.
Yeah, but you did it before you graduated, so it was really 2011, or was it 2012? I don't know.
I think it would have been the 2012.
January 1st of 2012.
Right. Hold on one second. I didn't mean. I mean, you're a passionate guy too, man. I get this Jameson, Connor Keel,
Connor Brewer.
Oh man, Chad Kelly. So see, and it's crazy too because I think there's one thing I think we could all agree in society is that we need to really hang on to things that happened in 9th and 10th grade more. You know what I mean? I think that's if there's anything that I know about this life, I think that that's the mark of a person nowadays. It's 9th and 10th grade when you were 15 years old. Right. I'm kidding, obviously. All right. Dude, this has been great. Let me get you out of here on a quick game we call 2-minute drill, a rapid fire game. And it's just like I said, rapid fire questions. We got between 5 and 8 of these, and we'll put some 2 minutes on the clock and you're ready to go.
Perfect.
All right. First question. What SEC fan base is most like Bills Mafia?
Ooh. Ole Miss.
I don't know if I agree with that. I like the answer. I know you got to say it, but that's fine. That's fine. We'll give you points.
They drink heavy.
That's also fair. All right. Bud Light or Labatt Blue?
Bud Light.
What? I did not expect that. All right, we'll give you some points on that. What's your go-to show to binge watch on TV if you have time to watch TV?
Narcos.
Ooh. Deep. Have you seen Ozark? They just came out with a new season of Ozark today.
Yes, I gotta watch it. It is. I do like Ozark. Yeah.
Are you caught up on it? Because it was pretty dark last time.
It was. I haven't seen the new season. I will watch that. I do gotta watch that.
All right, fair enough. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 69, how creepy is Landshark Tony from Ole Miss? Is that why you left?
Landshark Tony. I don't know.
That's the new mascot.
Oh, shout out to Ben Craddock. He knows what he's doing.
Okay, fair enough. The answer was 69 for sure. The answer is always 69. Finish this question or this sentence for us. Chad Kelly is a better rapper than blank.
No one.
No, that's not true. I have to Tekashi 69 on here. I guarantee you I spelled it wrong. So there's that. All right, this weekend, this is the last one we got for you. This weekend, Garth Brooks played in Death Valley in LSU. What would be your bucket list concert to go to at an SEC or college football stadium? And why is it Swag Kelly about Hemingway?
Future involved Hemingway.
Ooh, that'd be legit.
Yeah, it would be.
Not Future and Bobby Dodd in downtown Atlanta?
Mm-mm.
This side.
They would get it cracking for sure. They would.
For sure. I'm going to add these up here. We got, that's a new high score here, Chad. That's a grand total of 69 points. That's fantastic, man. We appreciate you guys having or coming on. And tell everyone what you got going on, man.
Appreciate you, Fiji, always.
You got a Fiji sponsorship? Let me get on that train.
Fiji's taking care of everybody in the Kelly family. So thank you.
Love it, man. All right, man. We'll have to have you on again soon. We appreciate it. Keep up all the hard work.
I appreciate you, Chris. Thank you for having me.